folks, and welcome back to 3 at 3. I know a lot of you are feeling a little bit better about that rally Friday and then the rebound today because we were down pretty hard early on, and making a nice turnaround certainly feels a little better. So let's get into what happened, what's happening, and in other words, get started with unusual option activity. Again, calls that are purchased on the offer are what we're confirming to you are what we track as bullish activity. Puts that are bought on the offer are bearish activity. I have examples of both today. And as much as the market has slipped in 6 weeks now, there are still both bullish trades and bearish trades that we've highlighted that have worked out very nicely, and we want to call your attention to some of those. So with that said, let's get started. First of all, unusual activity. It doesn't get much more unusual than that. Pete on the outside of the NASDAQ boards after he and Snoop were going back and forth last week. If he is indeed the ponytail brother, and I'm going to say since he was on Friday, he probably is the one Snoop was talking about, but people were saying, do you have an NFT of that ugly goatee you've got? And so Pete showed him that one from the NASDAQ. And that was just a classic Pete basically clapping back at these people. But anyway, yeah, I'm a little curious about it too. But let's take a look at how well some of these trades have worked out just from Friday. Pete cited Occidental options, upside calls in Occidental Petroleum. And as you know, I discussed it on the on the 3 at 3. June 67.50s. And let's take a look at where the stock is today, shall we? Oh, 68.35, up 427. Bang! That's why you trade options, my friend. So these calls working out really nicely. I've taken half off, and I couldn't have even screwed it up because crude oil was strong, market ran, got to take some of those profits. And as you know, I don't have those 67.50 calls because the stock was $4 lower. I have the lower strike. Bang. So against the other half, what have I done? Again, just through my thought process, I take half the money off the table when we've got a big winner like this. Now, as I've said, normally my swing would have been shortened up to the point where I wouldn't have had a big, huge windfall like this. But every once in a while, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn. And when we gap like we did, and as Warren Buffett adds, almost 1 million shares, according to the latest 13F, yeah, that works out pretty well. And obviously, potentially benefiting from inflation as well as are these energy stocks. And Occidental, now what I've done is I've sold at the money calls against it. So I'm out of half. The other half, I have a lower strike. I've sold an upper strike against it. As long as I do that 1-to-1, I assume no upside risk. And that's what I like. Take a look at this one also, continues to perform. KWEB, we talked about these June 26 calls that were bought for $1.72 with the stock at 24. Well, stock trades to 27. I think 27.25 might have been the high on the day. But I took a picture of it here at 26.99 for the presentation, and take a look at those calls. The June 26 calls traded all the way up to 310 today. So still have half of these, but I have taken half off. And what I'm doing now is hands out, bang, 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 selling calls against the calls that I own. Because as long as I do that, I'm both locking in some of that upside that we've got and letting it maybe run a little bit more, because by selling at the money calls against this run, those calls have some premium. So if we finish at that strike or higher, I get all of that premium as well, which is what I like to do. Bam. Crypto Convo. Yep. Got a new one posting up very shortly. CryptoConvo.com is where you can see it. You can also see it very soon on ClixTV.com. That's CLIXTV.com. And of course, roundtable.io. But Crypto Convo, conversations with me and some of the leaders in DeFi tech, like Russell Starr, some of the leaders in decentralized autonomous organizations, easy for me to say, people like Adam Burke, a lot of brilliant people in this space. If you've given up on it because of some of the recent volatility, just keep in mind Volkswagen's down as much as Bitcoin this year. Yeah, pull them up, take a look. So if you wouldn't own Volkswagen, knowing that they've only made cars for, I don't know, since the 1930s, I think it's a little early to give up on Bitcoin, something that's only been around since 2009. So cryptoconvo.com, check it out. Today is 3 at 3. This is the first, and it is FSLY, FSLY. Stock's just under $12. They're buying the at the money 12 calls for 42 cents. These calls expire Friday, my friends. So if you're joining us, if you choose to get into this one, be very aware that time decay plays a major part in the value of these calls. So since it's at the money, not in the money, all of it is extrinsic premium. It's all out of the money premium. So we need a move to the upside to cash in on this trade. If we don't get it, I will cut my losses at or about 25 cents for these calls. If, on the other hand, these calls are running to the upside, I'll probably start taking profits 65 cents on up. That's the way I'm trading it, folks. That's the first of today's 3 at 3. Second is AX Financial, as you might expect, with a name like that, AX. Bearish puts, 35.48, call it 38.50. They're buying the 32.50 puts, a full $3 out of the money. Paid $1.60 for these puts in July, and they bought 15,000. So when you're following this, if you choose to, again, I can't pull the trigger for you, but if you choose to follow this trade, you're following somebody that's putting 1.5 million share equivalent on the line in this trade. I like that. I want to follow that. And indeed, I am following these 15,000 July 32.50 puts and buying the 35s. And then if it starts moving down, I'm going to be selling those lower strike puts against it. Again, same as the calls, 1-to-1, except I'm owning the at the money here, which would be approximately the 35s, and selling the lower strike against it because that's how puts work. Bang. Apple. So my biggest position, Apple, bullish calls, 145.48. In other words, 145.5 is where the stock is. They bought 1 million share equivalent, 10,000 of these calls, these July 155 calls. So what do you need to know? Let's see. We're coming up on regular May expiration, which means June, July, 2 full months into the future. Time decay is not fierce, but it is right on the edge where it's getting ready to start falling off. So don't be lulled into a false sense of security saying, oh, these are all the way out in July. We're almost to the end of May, folks. So if you choose to follow this trade, what am I doing? Buying the 145, selling higher strikes against it, even though I already have a big position in here. You could elect to buy, for instance, the 150s. And if it starts rallying, sell those July 155s against it. Some of you would elect to sell puts as a way of just saying, well, you know what, John, I'm going to pick like the 135 puts and sell those. As a way of making money. If John's right and it starts to move to the upside, I keep everything that I took in as far as premium in those puts. Can't blame you for that. You could sell a put spread and not leave yourself naked. You could sell the 145 puts, buy the 140 puts. For instance, that $5 put spread, if you sold it, hands out, if you sold it, you get to keep all of that premium if Apple stays above 145. Again, there are so many ways to trade this, folks. And in fact, we will be talking about this on Wednesday. And to learn more about it, you can go to marketrebellion.com. That's marketrebellion.com. Or if you'd like to just dive right in and start learning about spreads and so forth, smart spreads, like the one I just described, go to marketrebellion.com/get started for more. And you can be one of us. one of the folks who's taking advantage of time decay, one of the folks who has lessened the amount of cash that you have to put up to be in the trade, and somebody who is a derivatives, if not expert, very well versed in derivatives to where you can actually make some money on a regular basis, trading calls, trading puts. And that's what we can teach you at marketrebellion.com. A much smarter way to trade with these smart spreads. And I will be on with Ryan Mastro talking about these smart spreads on Wednesday after the market closes. I'll see you then, folks. Bang. Make it a good one.